What's going on, YouTube world and YouTube tribe? Welcome back to LilBigMan Gaming. I know it's been a minute. Wrestling reviews. I know the last review I did was Supergirl. Trust me, I'm just enjoying the recharge and gearing up for season 2. I actually have a new laptop. I brought a new laptop. Nothing wrong with the old one, but brought a new one because I wanted to start using the Elgato to its full potential. So I upgraded to an iCore 5, but that's neither here nor there, right? You know, that's not what y'all here for. Y'all here for what that title says. This is The Flash, Season 8, Episode 1, entitled Armageddon, Part 1. I do want to say so. I just brought the recent season of The Flash, so I think like my collection of The Flash seasons, though I gotta go. I think I don't have season 1. I don't have from season 1 to, I want to say season 1 to 3. I have to look back at my collection. I got so many collections of movies and shows. I have to go back and look because I haven't got myself for them up yet. But like I said, that's neither here nor there. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I'm just so excited. I'm rambling. The synopsis reads for this episode: when a powerful alien threat arrives on Earth under mysterious circumstances, Barry, Iris, and the rest of Team Flash are pushed to their limits in a desperate battle to save the world. So that alien threat is Despero, as we already know. Despero is here, but what is his motives, right? So the episode starts off with, I think it says it's in the year of 2031, which is, yeah, I think it will be 10 years. It's 10 years later, you know. And something is Central City, something happened, and it's bad. You know, there's fire everywhere, people running and screaming, and you got Despero monologuing saying that, you know, had they been prepared to do what was necessary, they could have avoided this future. They could have avoided this fate of not just Central City, but apparently the world and their world. Or, you know, he keeps saying their world, and he said, unfortunately for you guys, I am prepared to do what's necessary. And he touches his belt. I also want to note that when he comes in, when you hear Despero and he comes into view, the first thing you see is like his the shadow of his, like, I want to say Hawk-like form, his actual CGI Hawk-like form. You see the shadow, and as he's walking and talking, you see it get smaller and smaller into the human form. And that's when he says, fortunately for you guys, fortunately for you people, everybody that's running screaming, he said, I do. And he touches his belt, and it's like a glass, like the glass of a space continuum forms around him, and he disappears. But that's, for the most part, that's the only, for the most part. I'm not saying you're not going to see Despero again, but you don't see Despero again to the latter half of the episode. Almost like, I want to say, like the middle end. Because the rest, then after that, it goes back to the present, and Barry and Caitlin are having a talk about Frost, and they go into CC jitters, and Frost is still trying to get I guess Frost is trying to get over Chillblaine, so this worries Caitlin, but it inspires Caitlin to want to get back out there. She says for the first time, watching Frost, who's basically another part of herself, date and commit to dating and stuff like that. She said, you know what? She tells Barry, this is, the first time since Ronnie's death, like truly since his death, she wants to get back out there and date. Remember, the I think this is the first change since Ronnie, or yeah, I think it was since Ronnie. But I remember behind the scenes was that they just got tired of trying to, they just didn't have a good storyline for Caitlyn when it comes to dating. So they kind of wrote that out of the show. That's why everybody except for Caitlyn was finding love. And I get, their official story was because of Ronnie's death, she just didn't want to date. But I think they said they never really could find a balance. So it's good to see that they actually reincorporating Caitlyn back into the dating scene, and by her saying that she's ready to get back up there and start dating. While they was talking, there was an incident on the train. This train, something happened where for some reason two trains are getting ready to collide. So Flash, who's thanks to his new abilities, with the artificial speed force or reviving the speed force, he's still getting used to his new abilities, which is basically like not only speed thinking, but that comes into later on the episode. In this particular instance, it's just the fact that he's a lot faster. Remember how he told Reverse Flash that he was, I just got faster. That's basically what this is. It's just him realizing that he's faster. So he was able to within 12 seconds save everybody from both, evacuate everybody from both trains, and the trains would collide. But this wouldn't be the end of the mystery of the train. Just for right now, in this particular part of the episode, it just assumed that just for some reason two trains was colliding. But this would bring in the meta-human threat of the episode, which is you thought it would be Despero, but for the majority of this episode, the meta-human threat of this episode was the Royal Flush Gang. Now, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I don't know, but when Flash was asked about the Royal Flush Gang, he had like a flash. It shows in the episode too. He had like a flashback memory, but the new captain of police that I forgot her name, but the meta-human police woman. She basically asked Flash how they or asked Barry how the Flash or them had any encounter, or how he had any encounter. She asked him because he knew who it was right off the bat who was doing it, and he was like, "Yeah, this was the Royal Flush Gang." So she was like, "Oh, so this is not your first time having an encounter with them?" But then he remembers that he said he was telling her like, yeah, they was like the very first meta-human attack the city has ever seen. But then he remembered where he was during that time, and that was during the time he was in a coma before him becoming the Flash in the first place. The World Flush Gang attacked then, but apparently they was dealt with, or they just left. But yeah, he goes into defensive mode to try to cover up why he wasn't able to have his encounter with them then. But he knew about them. But like I said, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is the actual first time we've seen the Royal Flush Gang in live action form. Yeah, and then it was cool too, like they did, like while they didn't have like the goofy car like costumes like in the one like we seen before in the Batman animated series, or those previous like cartoons. Because remember, the World Flush Gang does have a cartoon history, but the Flash never had his own show, so they was either villains to Superman or villains to Batman. But yeah. We get to see them. They did have like the one thing from their comic book counterpart, which was they painted faces of what their with their card, to their card. You got the King, Queen, Jack, and I forgot the other. Yeah, King, Queen, Jack, and the other one. But yeah, they all had like the Jack had like laser beams. King like he had like super strength. Queen has the ability to read mind, and the other girl, I forgot who she was. She had like she had super agility or some stuff like that. But yeah, they basically, this is and like to my knowledge the first time that I ever seen them on the Flash. But again, I could be wrong. I had, there's so many seasons of the Flash to go through. I would have to go back because it seemed, according to the flashback, they was only around for that, one brief moment in the first season, if they did show up in the first season. But their motives are scattered. They attack again, or they steal this chip, and they don't know why. Barry and them trying to figure out why. All the while, we get an appearance from the first guest character of this mini crossover event of the Armageddon event, which is Ray Palmer / the Atom. He's in the town for this tech convention that's been spearheaded by Chester P. Runk, and Chester P. Runk and these other people. Ray Palmer is like their hero, and Ray explains to Barry and the Flash, since leaving the Legends, him and Nora has lived while she's doing her thing with the supernatural elements. I think she's still like being a fairy godmother or whatever she was doing. They still live the simpler life. Now he wants to find a balance between being a scientist and doing research and just not all the crazy zaniness of being a legend and all that type of stuff, right? And this kind of clash with Chester because, Chester, they want him to be there to aspire to, do all this other stuff. But then, okay, they realize, it kind of breaks his heart. But that's a whole little revelation that you get to see in the episode, how that went from upsetting Chester to Chester being happy about it. But yeah, throughout that little arc, they try to figure out what's going on with the Royal Flush gang, and then they eventually figure out what they was up to. To them they was confused, like why are they doing this and doing that? This is not their MO, and they was like, wait a minute, now it really is their MO because it all turns down to bit currency. Like they realize they is still robbing banks or robbing casinos and stuff like they usually do, except they leveled up to bitcoins because now there's a whole bunch of money. They realized everything they was stealing will allow them to steal all this money from the Bitcoin currency that had like hundreds of millions of dollars. Like it was a whole bunch of money. And they just, even Cecile, she's like they still are just, robbing casinos and stuff. They just leveled up, and then you hear, it's funny because you keep hearing that throughout this episode. Like if this was Sesame Street or something, like the word of the day would be level up, because they say level up so many times in this episode. But it was just funny. I'm just like, oh my god, how many times we're gonna hear level up? But yeah, they very quickly. They, because they get the episode back into the Armageddon territory, they quickly deal with the Royal Flush gang. They stop them, and it was funny how they stop them. You'll see, if you haven't seen the episode, go watch it. You'll see what I mean, because I like how they really get into the character of referencing they card characters, and how Barry was able to defeat them. Like she was so confident, like the Queen, because she could read people's minds. She could read what you're going to do before you do it. She was so confident, but then when she got defeated, she was like, "What? How did you do that?" So at this point in the episode, we shift to, once the Royal Flush gang has been dealt with, you shift to what Armageddon is truly about. Armageddon. Then you see what happened from the beginning of the episode. You see Despero finally appears at this interview that Iris is having with Ray Palmer, and once Ray Palmer and Iris get done the interview, he basically looked like he got inspired to be the Atom and stuff again, thanks to Despero. Despero shows up. This is what happens basically. When he disappeared from 2031 to the present, he basically came to this conference. He was like, you all should run. And they just looking at him like, what do you mean, we all should run? And he got in their heads and said, he was like, you all should run right now. And they was like, oh my God, run. Chester telling everybody to run. And, Ray gets the Atom suit and Barry and him and starts fighting. And basically, Despero explains to Barry that the reason why he's doing this is because that future that we saw in the beginning of the episode, where everything was destroyed and everybody's running for their lives, is apparently Barry goes evil. Apparently, in 10 years' time, Barry will eventually become evil and basically be the end, hence Armageddon. Basically, once again, just like Crisis, Barry is the center of this new crisis. And now, just like how Crisis was started with the Flash, because with the Anti-Monitor, he was underneath Central City. This time Barry is the catalyst for the events. This time, for some unknown reason, and you hear this in the preview for the next episode, apparently Barry loses his mind. He doesn't say it in this episode, but the preview for the next episode, it shows that Barry's asking him like, how can I be responsible for what happens 10 years in the future? Why are you so gung-ho on that? And he said because Barry loses his mind. Basically, his mind begins to crack, and he'll lose his mind and eventually become evil and start and bring about the end of their world. He's still using their world, but in this episode, he basically explains to Barry. He doesn't. He just tells Barry that he will be responsible for Armageddon and the end of their world. And he's and they fight. He tells him, hey, if you're gonna kill me, you at least owe me why. And he said very well. And he uses like his third eye to show Barry the future. And Barry see in that little brief glimpse, we see basically that repeat of that first scene in the episode. But you see the Flash, and he's running. He's running, but you see as he's running, he's tearing up the ground. Like he's purposely causing these tears in the ground when he's running. And he says that he just explains to Barry that he's basically going to become evil. But with the help from Ray, they temporarily defeat him, knowing that he's going to come back. And that's where a little cliffhanger comes in, where once Ray goes away, leaves and stuff, telling him that he will be back. As Despero comes back, you get the little Flash logo. Then you got the cliffhanger. The cliffhanger is basically Despero and the Flash, with the Flash trying to show Despero who he truly is, and that he's not someone that could go evil. And Despero sees this as a genuine thing and reads his mind and sees that Barry's telling the truth. How he is a man, like according to this man's memory, how is he somebody that could be? How did he go from that to this? In 10 years time. But apparently in the next coming episodes, we will find out how Barry goes from being Barry Allen, savior of Central City, the Flash, to someone evil. But yeah, this beginning episode. So this is not. It wasn't jam packed with too much, but it was good to see the Royal Flush gang. Albeit they were just like the villain of the week filler. But yeah, it was weird not to get. It was weird, like a weird mixture for this first episode to be like more Royal Flush gang, then Armageddon. It's like they had two different storylines going on, but yeah, maybe hopefully in the next episodes it kind of picks up, because it's got to, because it's going to have more guests, because we're going to have Batwoman and all them. Maybe not in the next episode, but apparently Batwoman. I didn't say this in my Supergirl review. I thought Supergirl was going to be in it, but apparently she's not. She will not be in this episode. I think, yeah, it said that, I guess only Alex Danvers is going to be in the crossover along with like Batwoman and all them. But hey, it is what it is. Hopefully, the next couple of episodes will be good. And like I said, this episode was kind of in between, was like a little bit weird, but that's all I got. Like I said, I gave it 7.5 big ups because it was just wasn't all the way Armageddon, but it wasn't all the way like a full-fledged Flash episode. So yeah, I gave it a 7.5. Still enjoyed it, and I say you go watch it. And if you enjoyed it, let me know in the comments down below of what you thought about the Flash Armageddon. And yeah, if you enjoyed it, hit that. If you enjoyed this video, then hit that button right there in the upper right corner for all of my reviews. And if you enjoyed the video so much you want to support the channel, then hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, become part of the family, part of the tribe, and turn notifications all the way on so you get notified when I drop videos, because I got a whole bunch of videos coming. And hit one of these videos for more of my amazing content. But I am out. Peace out. And yeah, I got some more videos coming for you.